seen that. He's never been behind me at an event. He's never been lingering around me at an event. And I asked about that. I asked about just his presence behind Charlie, and plus the mysterious phone call that he was seen making in like minute 3 after Charlie was assassinated. And he told me explicitly that they were trying something new that day. Like it was something new. Charlie's super ambitious. And on the AV thing, they were trying something new, and they wanted to be able to feed it back instantly to Arizona. None of it makes sense to me because these events are typically live streamed. But again, something new. Okay. So let's stick with that theme. Do you want to know something else that was brand new leading up to this event? Charlie's perspective on Israel. Okay, so let me say this so you can hear it. Charlie Kirk's perspective on Israel was not starting to shift. It had shifted entirely. Okay, there are no ifs and there are no ands and there are no buts about it. Israel knew that. Turning Point USA knew that because Charlie was explicit. So my question is, why isn't Turning Point USA making any statements and shutting down this repeat attempt by Israel to lie and to pretend that towards the end, Charlie was just offering love letters to Israel, giving them a perspective of here's how we can win. Here's what you guys need to do. You need to work with this Hillel, whatever it is. Yeah, the same people that are calling me anti-Semitic, you need to work with those people harder. And he was just putting it on, what was it, an email? What was that they were sharing on a video post, the Israeli Post, right? What were they sharing there? He wrote this deep love for Israel. He had nothing else to do in May. Wrote this deep love for Israel to a letter to Netanyahu. Netanyahu said they were close, but in the letter, Charlie puts his number, which apparently Netanyahu didn't have his number. And we're supposed to believe, did he send that as an email, by the way? Somebody clarify, was that the email they were sharing? Or did he send it in the mail to him? Could somebody share that, please? I'm assuming. Can someone share the timestamp on that? Just kind of like authenticate that email. Because I'm very aware of what's going on, okay? And I don't know how the executives over at Turning Point USA sleep at night. Okay. I don't know how you can present yourselves as a Christian organization and not be dedicating yourself to the truth. No matter what the cost is, you tell the truth. That's it. Okay. You don't hide it. You don't try to obfuscate it. You don't try to say, well, wait until the memorial events before we start looking into who murdered him. You tell the truth and you tell it immediately. And I don't think they're capable of doing that. And I have an idea as to why that is. I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help. Okay, I'm going to state this, and I'm going to challenge executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay, Charlie was done. He said it explicitly that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself? And then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our on-stage reunion could happen? It's a yes or a no. Okay, let's stop this ditching. Let's stop the dodging. Let's explicitly, I want to hear from Turning Point USA that I'm lying about that. I want you to say no. It was just, he was feeling a little bit of pressure. No, I want you to literally answer what I have just said. It either happened or it didn't. I'm either making it all up or it happened exactly as I'm saying. And while we're at it, may I ask Jewish donor who sponsored the Hamptons weekend, okay? Were there any LLCs that you or your son were being paid through that sat outside of Turning Point? I'm asking that question genuinely. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted and these lies fly. Unless, as I'm hearing unless it is true that there was a big payday that was on the line. And if Charlie radically stated that he was done with Israel, if Charlie said he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause because of, and I quote, Jewish donors, the behavior of Jewish donors, if he said that, yes or no, well then, I don't know, maybe some people didn't want to take that risk, that he was going to become Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, Turning Point USA, with all of those presences, so much presence across college campuses. Maybe they didn't want to take a chance. You see, I'm just one person, so it's easy to just try to cancel my life and lie on me every second of every day. Turning Point USA, I think, got a little bit bigger than Charlie, and I'm no longer going to allow this lie in this narrative. So answer the questions, yes or no. And I'm going to again challenge you to lie. And
yo, how are you?
I'm going to expose the lies, and I'm going to start dropping videos actually. So
Yo,
enough of the games, enough with trying to allow
Pedro,
to wrangle a narrative.
how you living, dog? Do you speak English? Maybe 10 seconds. To speak. 2. All right, dog. How old are you, Pedro? All right, dog. It's been real. It's been fun. Not 18. Peace. Bye-bye.
TikTok and its owner company, at least currently, is ByteDance. And ByteDance doesn't tell anybody about how they keep you coming back. But Washington Post has gone through and done a study where they collected TikTok watch histories from about 1,100 people, and they created a database of about 15 million videos that were served up to those people in a 6-month period. And they said they showed how effective TikTok is at getting into your brain and making you stay on the app, just watching dumb little videos over and over. Again, I know there are plenty of people that say that they learned a lot from TikTok. We have to be honest with ourselves. For anybody under the age of 30, some people use TikTok as their main source of current events and news. It's fascinating, though, what the algorithm seizes on to keep you focused. It's not always a video of the same type that gets you to watch. There's a commonality in the thread of videos that it serves you that are designed to keep you watching. Think of the different qualities that a video can have, right? If you watch, I'm trying to think of so I'll give you an example. The last time I went down a TikTok, it was ballet videos. Okay. So I started watching girls go across the floor to a guy who was a ballet teacher, but he talked to them like he was a football coach. Right up my alley. Okay. So here's the thing. They know that full manifestation of what you're doing, the focus is upright, or when it's down flat on the desk, it does, because it changes. We don't think about that sort of thing, but that's one of the inputs that they use to determine whether you're actively watching. Think to yourself, that is just line from that exactly what you did. So they have a couple of different qualities about database of probably thousands of videos combined the two, and you are now behind the scenes. And I love that. Here's the thing. That's the problem. I love all that stuff. I consume all of that. They're not throwing things in there that I'm like, put that down. They're constantly giving me things that are right up my alley. Which is the difference between, it'll get, and I don't know if it's gotten to the point yet, has it, on TikTok, where now you're being fed advertisements in between, and you gotta kind of, they are. Okay, so things that look like validation. It is a collection of that information. Not the stuff that you have to like or share or stay on. It's the simple reactions that your phone is that you're using that app that sucks you in. Now, there's something else here that I think is weird, and I would love to see a study on this. And they will, when told to put down the phone, will say to themselves, oh my God, 7 minutes doing that. I feel like it was nothing. Or I just spent an hour. TikTok doing nothing but videos or more ballet videos or short videos. That makes me feel better after I'm done with those 37 minutes that I lost. Yeah, because it's something that you enjoy, right? It's not something you do. It's entertaining. And it's something that's not too slow, right? But, and I think this is where the danger comes in, and this is where we start talking about addiction as a real thing. So it's going to find something more specific, and I don't know how to define this because I'm not sure there is such a thing. Football at the same time, or athletic, football, social media is the process. Our brain, it's the same as they're going to put more sugar. Get Mario to make the jump from Earth into the cloud, having down the underground world in 1991. So, sure. So us talking about all this, like, what should be there in between is key. Because we found out just a different way. It's doing this stuff for 30 years. Alright, well, listen, here we are. Hundreds of parents were knocking it down, making a baby Elmer, and we're playing Mario Brothers for 16 hours straight. We all turned just as we were going to turn out. Valley County, what have they done to fix all the coordination issues? We'll talk about that. Back in business, the Burbank Airport is normally agrees, and that was the case for 6 hours yesterday. The effects of the metal we get here, luggage, and we can talk to anybody. Three people on board a minivan helicopter have been critically injured in a crash onto a highway in Sacramento. UBC's Alex Medical Center crashed. The LAPD and the FBI served multiple search and arrest warrants in the harbor area of San Pedro, part of an operation targeting gang members with Mexican mafia. They'll say the warrants served this morning were mostly related to illegal drug and gun allegations and not related to ICE. A news conference is set for later this morning. The LA City Council and LA County supervisors are commemorating the 2-year anniversary of the October 7th attack on Israel by Hamas by closing their meetings in honor of the 1,200 people killed. It was for justice in Palestine. Used by a floral Palestinians killed. A law banning transgender women from playing on female sports teams in New York has been upheld by a state judge. ABC's Chuck Sivertson says Roller Derby League had sued, saying the ban violated state anti-discrimination laws. British Union, which filed a lawsuit on the league's behalf, says lawmakers in Utah passed a congressional map that shores up state's old Republican delegation in the U.S. House. The vote yesterday came after a court ordered the state legislature to draw a new map that split Salt Lake County into 2 districts instead of the current 4. The district the new line means to compromise.
Jason Flyers swings, ground ball a second, scooped up by Owen, he throws first, dug out by Freddie Freeman. He makes it and saves the game. A win for Allen.
Total score 43, the Dodgers in a goal for Game 3. It's tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. LA's leading the series 2 games to none. You can listen to the game on AM 570. ALE's lead. Satellite weather from KSI. Making around this morning, they should break up for sunny skies. The South 80s for Metro Valley and Inland OC. 80s to about 90 in Valleys and IE. 70s to mid 80s in the Valley. Clouds in the morning, sun in the afternoon, and 70s to mid 80s for metro areas. 70s to valleys. Deserts. 66 down. Orange 67 and 8. It's
Silver 23rd Street. One ten southbound and then right here. Manchester, also a busy ride this morning on the line southbound. And the east of interchange, on the business, and that's the on truck and a big rate, and then a laser line. Back up all the way from town. Getting back to moments we miss starts with getting informed. I have a very good time, but it's also get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines and vaccine answers stuff. You know, like extract, it's a bunch of like weird flashbacks. That thing. Oh yeah, there was that thing. But they've shown that we introduce memories. So this is the problem. The people that are involved in like the physical production, like this guy named John Mack, who was the psychologist at Harvard, and he did a series of these about depression things with people that had abduction. And of course, results of how do you talk to guys in that way? You know, it's like we're
In fact, the friends of Israel were pressuring him really badly, and he was done. He finally, you know what? Somewhere, Charlie is watching. Okay, and I hope he knows that we are reunited. Okay, we're on stage right now in the Jewish Donut. It feels good to know that in the end, truth is going to win. So, accept my challenge or don't. Before I get to some of your comments, I'll tell you about a couple of our sponsors, Nini Skincare being one of them. It's a reason that we all love the fall. Of course, it's the air, changing leaves. It's a season of transition, but that tired, dry, and very dull. If you are looking in the you feeling like your skin has lost its radiance with the season, then I should tell you about my absolute hope with those fine lines. It locks in deep moisture and it brightens your complexion, bringing back that healthy glow that you had in the summer. And here's what I love the most. Nini is proudly skincare dominated by foreign brands. Nini formulates and produces everything in the USA to deliver world-class quality, dear, which is faith, family, and of course freedom. Number one, freedom, and our faith and our family. You shouldn't have to compromise your values to get incredible skincare, and with Nini, you don't have to. So as you prepare for the new season, make sure your skin is prepared too. Get the exclusive 10% off your NiniSkincare.com order if you use code Candace10 this country, and you can see the results for yourself. Again, that's NIMI Skincare.com. Use promo code Candace10 10% off. Plus, of every lot of control people buying a credit card, the essentials. If that debt is piling up, you are not alone with it because you didn't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created the Smart Equity Loan, which is a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike
Come
a
on, you little
HELOC,
bitch.
which can have varying interest rates, the smart equity loan offers a fixed rate. That means one fixed loan allows you to leverage the equity income to pay off high interest debt, free up cash flow, and keep your existing loan mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started. You can call American Financing and you can start saving now. The number is 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210. Or you can visit AmericanFinancing.net/Owens, financing.net/Owens. All right, guys. Hope I made myself clear. I'm done dancing. I am dancing with all these 80 and is now pretending that she is morally fighting me to stop researching into Charlie's murder. You know exactly what kind of world. Politics sickens me, it really does. Everybody who has a little wish like jumping. Okay, it is if you're getting a lesson about that now. It's not left or right. I think which is something that I learned is not left. Comment from Rose. Rose writes, no matter what videos I've seen from people on the left or right calling you crazy, I call it fake and gay. You have my full support. Truth is all that matters in crisis case. The thing, people know truth when they hear it. Okay? You know truth when you see it. You know when people are lying. See the campaign now, it's obvious, right? It's all the same people making videos at the same time, posting at the same time. People that are accepting money through an agent of Israel somehow. I've also got contracts as well. How these people are getting paid, quote unquote 501c3s, dedicating themselves to the fellowship of Christians. And I mean, it is a really disturbing market. But you would think that following an assassination, that people would tether themselves to reality, that they would say, I want to fight evil, and they would therefore commit themselves to truth. What I'm seeing right now is just stunning. It really is. I mean, I think his name online was anomaly. Is this what happened after the Jay assassination? That all of his friends raced to say, don't investigate, accept the narrative as it is. Maybe we weren't alive. Maybe. AJ. Murphy writes, I'm a progressive, a fellow Catholic. I see the Holy Spirit working through you to find truth. We are fighting a spiritual war against evil. The left and the right must come together to fight authoritarianism. How to do that, by the way, I want to say this to people at home. This 100% real. It is not imagined. And what they want, the one resource that these people want, are your children. Adjustment. I'm waking up and I'm homeschooling my kids. But by the way, it's the most great thing in the world. Also, it just started this week, so it's only been for 2 days. But it's incredible how happy it makes me knowing that I am doing something to buck the trend as we are slipping further into the Candace crash out, followed by I'd like to apologize for my tone. 10 seconds ago. Yeah, I should do that, you're right. And I should have known. That is just not allowed. Natalie writes, Candace, I am giddy AF watching you today. You are on fire. To your Christ is King. Thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of your support. Candace, in my super chat yesterday, I got keyholing and internal bullet bouncing confused. Oh, okay. I remember that you commented about that. Keyholing is if the bullet is too slow and tumbles and has external impact. The other is pinball bullets, where they bounce internally, causing internal. Very interesting. George writes, "We love you, Candy. I pray the truth gets out soon. Keep up the great work. The truth, George, it's inevitable. It is. It's not to be a liar because you got to squirm. And I appreciate the hand that they played here. I totally get the hand that they played here. They're lying. If I buy a shirt, please don't do a Cardi B and call me out for my triple X sizes. And by the way, we do have some new merch, you guys. We're also going to make sure that you have the most appropriate kit on you. That just dropped. It's red. We don't know, but we know. And we're about to know now, if you know what I mean. Okay? So you can get your standard discount available on CandiceOwen.com website. There's also t-shirt, tank top, so we have that. Finally, getting you some kit. We'll drop more in the future too. Yeah, because that's the vibe. That is the vibe. Go with your gut on things. And I loved that yesterday's episode, the number one comment is Adolf Hitler. I'm not kidding. It's definitely coming. There is going to be some headline in the near future that read it. Why? Because out of nowhere, and for absolutely no apparent reason at all, the agents, like I think of them as like Mr. Smith in the Matrix, have I guess they're surrounding Megyn Kelly and demanding that she makes a statement against me and Tucker Carlson, of course. Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Before we get into that, some incredible breaking news. We have now confirmed that there was indeed a woman who was with the shooter in the footage that was captured by the houses nearby the area, and for whatever reason the FBI has not yet released or even if the footage exists. This is absolutely huge, actually. I think this is the biggest thing that we have uncovered since the beginning of this investigation. So let's jump right back into this. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, so a couple of things I want to clarify right at the top here. here because a ton of emails about one subject that we had a case regarding, first and foremost, you're seeing a lot of this chatter going around about the renting of the State Farm Stadium for Charlie Kirk's memorial service. I think there were 90,000 people that attended and then spilled over, and many people online have speculated, accurately by the way, so some credit to you guys, that in order to book a venue of that size, you would have had to done so in advance, right? Venue contracts do not just materialize out of nowhere for a space of that many people plus spillover. Now, given my many sources at Turning Point USA, I was able to quickly get an answer on that one for the public. The venue was indeed secured, but that was because they had help from the White House, and Turning Point did not book that venue back in May, so we can formally debunk that. I was told that the White to the event coordinator, and they actually did already have an event that was scheduled, and the White House simply asked those people if they would be willing to move or reschedule their event. It was apparently supposed to be an RV show, actually, and obviously, given the nature of the tragedy, it was globally traumatizing. I think everybody was moved. Charlie Kirk's assassination, the people that held that space were willing to oblige it. So that tracks with me. That seems accurate. I just wanted to help you guys with that information. Also, another thing that I came across, and this is regarding Phil Lyman's campaign website. You guys were asking me if we... Yes, I did come across that, and in the short one, didn't think much of it, because I thought, okay, well, he was running a campaign and he has a website and maybe people use it saying he was a great person. But yes, we were aware that George Zinn is one of just 20 people that is a featured endorsement. He endorses Bill Lyman's character. You can see that here. George Zinn writes, "Rare to find a more caring man with uncompromising goals to make Utah great for generations than Phil Lyman, not a politician who can be pampered, has a knowledge of urban and rural Utah from every corner and community. Utah is in desperate need of true leadership and representation, and Phil has the passion and the values to be a great governor. He needs our support." Now, I'm not sure what to make of that. I did want to use Wayback Machine to see whether or not that was a new entry. Maybe somebody is trolling there, and no, they are not. That entry has been there at least since, I'm going to show you this on at least since June 6th, 2024. So I don't know what to make of that. Now, I will say other locals told us that George Zinn, for whatever reason, is very involved in Republican politics. Take from that what you will, meaning that he shows up to a lot of events, but of course, Phil Lyman's people would have been aware of his erratic character, and maybe wouldn't want to have featured him on that. I don't know. Only something to consider. Some other things that are of interest. Okay, yesterday we mentioned that apparently it was kind of everybody's first day on the job, right? 9/10 was everybody's first day on the job, meaning that there were a lot of these recent and brand new hires in Utah that would all kind of come across and have to deal with this case. Kash Patel, I told you, cleaned house at the state borough. He then installs a person that has a long tenure in D.C., Robert Bowles. His first case is Charlie Kirk's assassination. Why would he want to uproot and move his family to Utah after having roots in Virginia for so long? I don't know, but that's the circumstance. Also, I told you there was a new CEO and therefore a new lead surgeon, Andrew Zenger, over at the hospital, the regional hospital that Charlie was taking, although that was not the nearest hospital from the university, and it also ranked extremely low in terms of the most best equipped hospital, if you will, to deal with the sort of trauma that Charlie was suffering from, a neck wound, obviously. So it's very strange to learn whether or not a surgeon worked on Charlie. That's something that I would like to find out. If you know that information, please send it to us at tips@candaceowens.com. Okay, that's not it though. There were also some other new people that I forgot to mention. The judge that is in the case, that is Ola Robinson, is Judge Tony F. Raff Jr. He was recently appointed to the 4th District Court in May of 2025 by Governor Spencer Cox. I was also informed that the coroner in this case was also brand spanking new. That name has not yet been released. I am told that person is new. Okay. And I have also learned, I've been told, that Charlie did indeed have an autopsy. I wanted to let you guys know that because I saw a lot of rumors that were circulating that he did not have an autopsy. That has been confirmed. An autopsy did take place. By the way, you should know that in the state of Utah, in case you, like me, are maybe holding your breath that we're going to see that report, those reports are actually kept private, so there isn't going to be some big release outside of what maybe the immediate family members wishing for that and saying, I feel like something's wrong and I would now like to release the autopsy report. That's the only way that we are going to be able to see it. That's at least what I've learned. Now let's jump back into what actually took place on that day, because I'm starting to get a bit of a stronger hunch about things. We'll jump back in here regarding Shayna Roderick, who is, according to Phil Lyman, a cousin. Phil, as his uncle across interviews, doesn't matter. They're family members is the main point, and they know each other. And Shayna Roderick has, of course, mysteriously deleted goals, except for Instagram, but he's Instagram. Okay? Just deleted his Facebook and just outright deleted his LinkedIn page because I asked him a question before we even went live. His response, okay? Now, he did this not before I grabbed everything that I needed from his pages. I just had a suspicion that he might not be willing to participate, and I was operating under the assumption that he might just privatize his socials. So I instructed my team to grab everything before I even made contact. Now, what I did not anticipate was that he would delete the content. Okay? Why would he delete the content? That part never wasn't tracking for me. It didn't make sense to me. Now, it sort of maybe does make a lot of sense to me. So you will recall that live on the show, someone paid money to inform us that there was footage that the FBI was hiding, right? She wrote in, said, I have been trying to reach out to you everywhere. The FBI is hiding footage. The doorbell cam footage had more. And this is what the person told us. She said, the shooter is then seen, and he is a woman. She told me. Then she gives me a name, and that name was another Lyman family member, and that's when my spidey senses started tingling. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of Lymans now. I want to be very clear and fair to Lyman. He has been forthcoming about the fact that his family owns that property. It's not mysterious. He's not hiding that fact. UVU, in many ways, purchased the university from his family, right? That the acreage from his family for that university. But I did feel that if that is the case, obviously, then Phil Lyman would, in fact, access that footage, right? Be able to speak to his family members. And yeah, I didn't want to come out and say that it was a fact that there was a woman with the shooter without any proof. We had no proof outside of this person, and what she was saying felt real to me, definitively, but I needed something more solid. Well, we came across solid. We reviewed the footage that Shayna Roderick, of course we downloaded everything but hadn't actually reviewed it, had wiped from the internet. And yeah, the proof is in the pudding, and I'm going to let you hear it. Now, to set this up, you will Shayna and his close friends that nobody knows, apparently, they were retracing the footsteps of the killer. They were at his grandma's house, he said. And he's speaking on camera with his aunt to set this footage up for you. And sure enough, you're going to hear right in the beginning to mention that there was a woman who was helping the shooter, and she's not sure whether or not that person was an accomplice. I would say if you're helping the shooter, you were an accomplice, but somehow we all missed this in this actual clip that Shayna had posted and has since been wiped from the internet. Take a listen. long it took him to get from that part over to here was way longer than it should. So I wondered if the girl was giving him stuff, like if there is an accomplice.
And it's set right here. That picture from Sam's across the street, he was right here.
So you see, she's talking about the shooter, and she says, I was wondering if the girl had given him stuff, and then somebody on the camera says, you know, you're filming, and she says, I'm sorry that you're filming. It's very clear. There's no question at all. In fact, leading into that, which we should have maybe cut that a little bit earlier, they're speaking about how she thought the FBI had it wrong. The timing didn't make sense to her, and that's what she started with. The timing doesn't make sense to me because I thought that it took a little longer for him to walk. Let's play that again, Skylar, just so they can hear it again. She says, "There's a girl. Take a listen." To that time, how long it took him to get from that part over to here was way longer than it should have been. So I wondered if the girl was giving him stuff.
And it's set right here. That picture from Sam's across the street, he was right here.
So just to be clear, those subtitles are wrong. It's just that's AI. She's saying, I wondered if there is an accomplice. Okay? I wondered if there is an accomplice, which we should edit that, Chris, when we re-release that. And then somebody says something, and she's like, sorry, I didn't realize you were filming. The woman was my source who said that the FBI cut the footage, and she was certain of it, her footage to the FBI saying, I wondered if that woman was an accomplice. Ladies and gentlemen, what the heck is going on? Who was the woman that was with the alleged shooter? What did the FBI immediately release that? Now again, you should all and they chose during manhunt, during this 33-hour manhunt, he believes she wondered whether or not she would have been an accomplice. That what to this lady? Who is the girl, the woman that was in this photo? I obviously did the sensible thing, right? And because it's his family, and I asked him whether or not he would vote for me. And he's angry. I mean, he said really not nice things to me. Started asking me if I had something to do with the shooting. Okay. And he's very upset about cousin versus nephew thing. It's all irrelevant. If you're saying you actually want to help us catch the killer, right? If that's really where your heart was, if that's really why you injected yourself so much into this story, why wouldn't you, knowing how deeply I care about this, walk over while you're in the neighborhood popping by, walk over to your aunt, grandma, cousins, I don't care whose house, and say, hey, you said there was an accomplice, that there was a woman, okay, that might have been an accomplice. Do you mind letting me see the raw footage so that I can hand it over to Candace? In fact, how about just giving me any of the footage that your family rushed to give to TMZ? Why did they rush to give it to TMZ, by the way? You definitely were, and that you hadn't seen the footage. You were watching it live with Kayleigh McEnany on Fox News. That's what you said during that segment, right? That's the first time I'm seeing this footage. So apparently your cousin, close enough to go to their house, but your cousin decides to give the footage to TMZ before you can even see it. Okay, maybe the feds gave it. That's another assumption. That's the only two options. Either your cousin gave it to TMZ or the feds gave a portion of it to TMZ, which begs the question, why were we not told about the woman? Who was the woman? We should now all be putting a lot of pressure on the FBI to make a statement about why the woman handed over her footage I've now twice confirmed, her own mouth and from a source, that there was a lady in that footage with the shooter. So, why are they worried about that being caught on camera? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were filming. What's that about? It's like everybody knows something that I don't know. And I want to be in the know of what happened to Charlie Kirk on 9/10. So, if you have any tips pertaining to who the woman was that was caught, I am going to try again to reach out to this family, since I don't think that Phil Lyman wants to assist me, doesn't like me. It's fine. I wonder if he likes truth, if he likes trying to solve this thing. That would be great as well. If he doesn't want to talk to me, I'm happy to put him in touch with another journalist. But if you know something more and you'd like to reach out to us, please do. Reach out to us on social media. And I please ask again that you guys reserve not sending us videos and TikToks and links, but rather, if you have information, please use tips@candaceellers.com. I love you all, and I love that the whole world wants to know what happened, and I'm grateful for that. But there are just so much data an inbox can take. We might have to just make a second line, so I think we should do. Skylar, we should talk about that. Okay, now we turn our attention back to the mysterious individual that is next to Shaner, right? We discovered that one person was from Austria. Then we're going, who's this goth kid that Phil has been clear he does not know him. Phil does not know this individual. Could I help identify him? I told you it was unusual that our inbox was instantly flooded with people telling us exactly who it was. Well, then we did get another hit on him, and a handful of you similarly found the same person that we did. The person going by the name Rabbi Rothschild was allegedly from Washington. Now, let me tell you why I don't think this is his true identity, okay? Because if this was just some kid who grew up in Washington, went to school in Utah, my inbox would be flooded with that name, and it's not, okay? It's simply not. Oddly, no one has come forward to claim that they know Rabbi Rothschild. They're all just saying, I got a hit, this might be him. No one is saying they went to school with him. This is a young college student. He's allegedly, like I said, from Washington State, and no one personally can say, I know this person. How could that be? How could that be? I'm going to tell you something. I'm starting to get a hunch about things, and we're going to go more deeply into this tomorrow. But many of you guys have been sending those clues about the Azov Battalion, about Ukrainian, Russian people that were coming, organized movement, people that are given new identities. Actually, one person wrote to us and told us that UVU in and of itself as a campus has an unbelievable amount of dedication. I mean, even the presidents, I'm blanking on her name, majored in Soviet studies. Like, they have a direct Russia to America. Yes, it is true, it is a fact that Tyler Robinson, this is Mike Mitchell, but there are old photos of Tyler, a lot younger, visiting his uncle Mikey, okay? Mikey, who is working in Azov Battalion. Okay, he's a military man. And that gets really interesting when I start to combine all of the aspects of this case. And again, we are still in theory territory, but I feel like we are I'm starting to get a stronger than a theory and more of a hunch that this was a military operation, and people that executed this are actually from overseas. And when you look at the aspects of the UVU case and their strong ties to that region, things get really interesting. When you look at UVU campus and their strong ties to the CIA, things start to get really interesting, right? And I think this is a path that needs to be pursued, that these people have different identities and that they are perhaps all from overseas. And it turns out that there have been, the New York Times has reported on Russian Ukrainian spies that are building new lives for themselves with new IDs in America, in Brazil. Essentially what we're talking about are terrorist cells. I believe that. I believe that with the Ukrainian war, okay, and they always hack us. Oh, we need to have open borders. Allows them to get people completely insane and deranged, and they are raising little militants in their extremist programs. Let me tell you, if this is sort of like a neo-Bolshevik militant tribe, then we need to start spiritually. And your children out of school. Homeschool your children. Okay? There is something dark that I am perceiving that is happening, not just in public schools, but in private schools to go. We couldn't get basic answers about somebody that had kind of fallen into the through the cracks and was posting. I'm showing you this. This is like one headline, and this question, by the way. So the English here is it is telling about White Lotus sect of all things. For those of you that followed the Becoming Brigitte series and things that we've spoken about this White Lotus idea, it's essentially they're training fighters and classified that they have these regional organizations. These organizations want to take somebody out, and it is, by the way, that Charlie was on also was on the hit list. Tucker was on the hit, and actually, I forgot the name of the individual who worked for Alex Jones, who got killed, but he was similarly on it. I think should be explored a little bit further. And like I said, we're going to go deeper on that topic on. We'll actually do that tomorrow, and we'll bring in the aspects and show you whether or not, Uncle Mikey could be Mike Mitchell, could he be the detective? But I'm just seeing these recurring themes of the military. For whatever reason, I'm also seeing a recurring theme of child abuse and a recurring theme of people who appear to have changed their name and that are operating in the shadows, and something is not right. Again, a theory that is now turned into a very strong hunch. More on that tomorrow. According to reports, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has just fueled hopes for higher. Over the years, we've all seen some tough times. We've had skyrocketing inflation, surging national debt, market volatility, and never-ending wars. Gold is real, it's tangible, it's held value for thousands of years. Unlike the stock market or currency, gold doesn't vanish when politicians make bad decisions, which, for being honest, it's happening a lot these days. And that's exactly why I've been partnering with the award-winning company Gold Co, because they sell precious metals like gold and silver, and they do an amazing job with it. So whether you're worried about inflation, government spending, or you just want peace of mind, Gold Co makes it easy. Here's what you can do. You can visit CandiceLikesGold.com. You'll get a free 2025 gold and silver kit, and you'll learn how you can get up to 10% in free silver. So don't wait for the next crisis. Protect your future today. Call 855-815-GOLD or visit CandiceLikesGold.com. Valley, I love them. Something that my team and I are always craving are healthy Paleo Valley. Paleo Valley makes their meat sticks with 100% grass-fed beef, of course, sourced from small-scale, regenerative American farms, so that you can feel good about what you're eating and what you're supporting. They have stripped out all of the junk. There's no preservatives, gluten, soy, sugar, dairy, or GMOs, just clean, nutrient the way food was meant to be. So whether you're road tripping, you're working late, you're running around with the kids, these sticks will deliver you high-protein energy without the crash. Whether you're keto, paleo, carnivore, doesn't matter. They come in multiple bold flavors, including original jalapeno, summer sausage, maple bacon, and teriyaki. So there's something for everyone. With over 55 million beef sticks sold, Paleo Valley is trusted, proven, and backed by a 60-day money-back guarantee. Right now, get first order at paleovalley.com/Candice with the code Candice. paleovalley.com/Candice. Use promo code Candice at checkout. Respectfully, the media, that would be considered anti-Semitic. It would be called the Jew hater. Fast forward to 2025, And Bibi Netanyahu is now hosting an on-camera meeting with American social media influencers to talk about how they are going to shape U.S. opinion. Because I honestly, with my eyes, I was going, this can't be real. They're not even hiding it anymore, right? It's like, first it was a conspiracy theory. Now it's like, here's what we're going to do, okay? And what are we going to do? How are we going to beat out all of these independent voices who are winning because they're telling the truth? So Deborah Lee asked Bibi Netanyahu specifically about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the potential loss of evangelical support for the state of Israel because of it, which, by the way, is going to be the consequence of this. It will be the consequence of this.
Like the Likud party are cut from the same ideological cloth. And so specifically with Charlie Kirk's assassination, who was a big mentor of mine, was my first mentor in the space, evangelicals, from all my research, evangelicals are the reason that Israel has been supported in public sphere outside of just Jews. So with Charlie's assassination and with the kind of trajectory that we see with like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, I guess I'm curious about what's another game plan if we lose evangelical support for the state of Israel. What's our backup plan to be strong, like outside the diaspora?
Okay, first off, I don't know why it's always me, Tucker Carlson. Why? Carlson and cameras. Like, can it be anybody else? I've been on his show twice on his independent show. I just love Tucker. I do. I'm a fan. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like they're starting to think we're the same person. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens over and over again. But listen to Bibi's response, because prepare yourself. What he is saying is that they are about to launch a psychological war on Americans. Take a listen to what he says.
He said, he talked about the woke right. He said, I call it the woke right. Because these people, you know, they're not any different from saying but they're actually meeting something. And what we have to do is we have to secure weapons, his job with money. Money of NGOs, fast. Money of governments, faster. Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Of course, I think we should also come to them and have a chance. To that community, they're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the like goats, but we have to fight with the weapons and fight to okay? And the most important purchase number one. Now if it goes through because it's going to be consequential. Eggs. That's not. And you know, so we have to talk. Right? We should talk to them. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot, and I can go on other things, but that's not the point. Right? We have to fight it to give direction to the Jewish people, and give direction to our non-Jewish friends, or those who could be our Jewish. Are we going to succeed with everyone? No. Will there be a strong counterpart? Yes.
Okay, so like we're allowed to say Israel controls the media now. Okay, I think that's just like on camera now. There will be no dispute about this. The fact that you have a foreign leader, it's incredible. You have a foreign leader who is sitting up there saying that he wants his agents. He needs the deal to go through. Which, by the way, let's call out Donald Trump right now. Okay, all of the acting. We don't want China. We don't want talk. wanted to hand it over to your Zionist friends. Okay, it was all over. Donald Trump has sold us out to Israel once again. Okay, so he's saying I would go through, and we know a part of that deal. On board, just like the ADL spokesperson said when he was caught on the mic, was like, we need to do something about TikTok. And now they're doing the thing, right? They're going to take over TikTok and they're going to ban your speech. It's happening right now. The second that CEO said she was a proud Zionist, or maybe she wasn't the CEO, but one of the executives there, they installed immediately after, said she was a proud Zionist, and they just spent time in Israel. Our content was getting strikes. You can't say anything bad right now about Israel on TikTok. And this is because it's what Bibi Net enters speech, which was something that Charlie was very worried about. He was very worried about what Israel was doing to come inward on speech. And yeah, so that's actually all the time. You can see them in my comments. They just like post the Israel flag over and over and over again. That's what they want to subject Americans to, lower to their sides. That's it, obviously. Okay, so like, have you even gone through basic parenting 101? You're going to tell these people that they would be forced and support your country. They're most certainly not going to. Instead, they're going to see you as what you are, which is problematic. Leader speaking publicly about how you're planning to teach social media sites in America because opinion shifted. Okay, because opinion has rightfully shifted against your country on the basis of your behavior. Right, like Charlie said, on the basis of your you fall into every stereotype. So stereotypes wouldn't exist this way. Camera. You have zero shame in saying this. You're anything there, right? Like a person would say, wow. Can't separate yourself from Candace Owens. Many of us are going to separate ourselves from you. She didn't mention anything about me. He says, we do not have to align with everyone that claims to be of the right when their motives and history are as shady as hers. Megyn Kelly and I have no attachment to the idea that he's demanding that she make a statement against me is insane. She replies, she holds the line, she says, look at this. No, I have no obligation to quote unquote separate myself from anyone. I run my own media company and my own show. That show was where I express my own opinions and I will decide what and what not to opine on. If you need me to condemn Candace or Tucker for their opinions in order to listen to me, then I may not be for you. He's a close friend, and she is under enough pressure without gratuitous shots from me. My fight is with the left, not these two. Like, kudos to Megyn Kelly. What? And yes, she is friends with Tucker, been friends for a very long time. And yeah, I'm kind of taking a lot of bullets right now, so I thank you, Megyn, not just taking a gratuitous swipe because I'm breathing over here, but it's not enough. So then they bring the other agent, constant kissing, which, by the way, there's going to be a day where I just release everybody's family genealogy. His is astonishing. But these are all agents of Israel, let's be very clear. And Kissing then jumps in and says, here's the problem. He's a free speech warrior, constant kissing. The problem with this approach, which many on the right are taking, is that this is exactly how the left allowed in its own extremists, to first flourish and then to become the face of the entire movement. If you agree with Candace and Tucker, people will respect that. But to many of us, their behavior is so extreme and so deranged that the idea that it can be simply ignored because your fight is quote unquote with the left doesn't wash. You have always been a great, principled, truth-seeking journalist, so to many of your admirers like me, the question might be, if you agree with them, fine. But if you don't, why isn't your fight with them? This is almost verbatim. It's like scary to me because I'm like, are they this is like military training? Almost verbatim a text message that I received from Marissa Streit when I like retweeted Max Blumenthal, I think once, when he said something that I totally agreed with, and then like all the agents, like Dave Rubin, all of them are like, don't you see what you did? And they think you're going crazy, but they kind of pretend to be your friend, and you're like, what did I do wrong? Like I just said genocide is always wrong. I just retweeted Max Blumenthal, so maybe he said it was sensible, and they come in and they're like, I understand what you're doing. I'm your friend, but I worry that other people are going to see what you're doing and not understand, and it just, I want you to be okay, because we're just wondering, like, we all agree that that's bad, right? So why don't you just say what I'm telling you to say, Meg, or you're going to get it, we're going to ruin your effing life. That's the subtext, Meg. That is the subtext, Megan. I can promise you that. I lived it. There's no halfway with these people. I'm telling you, there's no halfway. She didn't do anything. She shared her episode and said, if you want to hear Charlie Kirk in his own words, here it is. That is literally what they are responding to. And now they're going to pretend to be her friend. So she responds to him, and she says, the more one insists that I say what one demands me to, the more committed I get to my refusal. This was Charlie. He was like, I'm done. I'm just done. Is an adult. She's also quite going to fall for this, should I call it babble, right? Constant kissing. She's like trying to manipulate a toddler. And he says, I demand nothing of you, and I'm coming from a position of great respect. I'm simply asking why it is that you don't believe that lies told by prominent people on the right should be challenged in the way that we all challenge lies told by people on the left. And she said, your response proves the opposite of what it purports to. She sees right through him. Of course she does, because she's not a child, okay? This is how the agents work. They pretend to be your friend, and I'm telling you, if she doesn't buck, because if they want, we will whip you, and you will buck. And you will buck by making a strong statement against Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. When we do, they will send the next layer, which is a full-blown press attack. That they do not control, by the way. They do not control it. Don't control it. But they will control it. When they come after her, she doesn't do what they say. Watch that space, you guys. Watch that space. Okay, I want to make sure that I get to some of your comments, because a lot of you guys have been writing in. First, I want to throw it to Pure Talk, because our society works because of the freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. Everyday Americans should be able to speak openly and about honesty, family, traditional values without any retribution, and that's a principle that Pure Talk proudly supports. They sponsor my show, which allows me to stand strong behind the microphone every day and share the truth with you. If you want to support brands that defend fairness to Pure Talk, you're going to get great 5G coverage and an extremely reliable and secure network. And with plans from just $25 a month, you'll save a ton of money. Pure Talk believes in creating American jobs and supporting small business. So if you're a small business owner, you can save even more while enjoying white glove service. You stand with companies who share your values. Go to puretalk.com/Owens to switch to my wireless company, which is Pure Talk, and right now you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, that's puretalk.com/Owens. There's a reason that we all love the fall, love the crisp air, we love the changes, the leaves, but the season of transition can also be tough on your skin. The end of summer sun, the new autumn wind, it can leave your skin looking tired, dry, and dull. So if you're looking in the mirror and you're feeling like your skin has lost its radiance for the season, I need to tell you again, which is Mimi Skincare. Mimi is the reason that my skin stays clear, firm, and three-step anti-aging routine is the perfect defense for this seasonal shift. It's packed with powerful, clinically backed ingredients that work to restore your skin's barrier, which is exactly what you need to fight off that dry autumn hair. Collagen production to help with those fine lines. It locks in deep moisture and it brightens your complexion, bringing back that healthy glow that you had in the summer. And here's what I love the most. Mimi is proudly American made. The world of skincare dominated by foreign brands. Mimi formulates and produces everything right here in the USA. They deliver world-class quality while staying true to the values that we hold dear, which is faith, family, and freedom. You should not have to compromise your value. You have to. So as you prepare for the new season, make sure that your skin is prepared to get exclusive 10% off your order at MimiSkincare.com. You can use code Candace10 at checkout. Support a brand that supports this country and see the results yourself. Again, NIMISkincare.com. Use promo code Candace10 and you'll get 10% off. All right, guys, what is on your mind? I always feel like I get in trouble in the comment section for some reason. Oh, I wanted to read this email that came in because Turning Point had the USU event last night. They went back to Utah and returned. Made a big splash about that, and this person attended and wrote this to me. It reads, Dear Candace, tonight, which is September 30th, 2025, several friends and myself attended the TPUSA event at Utah State University. There was full agreement that all were disappointed. The event was scripted, the allowance of open dialogue was absent, and the entire presentation lacked authenticity. I'm happy to answer any questions about specifics, but if this is how TPUSA is going to proceed, then it will not be successful. I agree with you that this is the vibe that we're getting and catching right now. They're not going to be successful. Okay, you're never smarter than your audience. I say it over and over again. Everyone perceives that something is not right and we are not getting the truth, and they are too mum. And I definitely know. I got received other emails, people saying that they felt that it was very much controlled, but I feel like it gets to a more broader point, which is that nothing that is fake will survive in the long run. Okay, and there's a lot of fakeness and gayness that's happening right now, and yesterday it's why I just went ahead and took a shot at the beast. I will not allow them to turn Turning Point USA into a company that is shilling for Israel. I have people that are telling me that they're handing out TPUSA faith packets, and like 8 times, someone submitted it to me, I read it, and I know who's behind that. I do. And so I don't know where they're going, if they're trying to sink Charlie's company. It worked. Turning Point worked because Charlie was authentic, okay? Whether you agree with him or not, I can tell you, started out, loved Israel for the same reasons. We went to Israel together, you know? He authentically believed and loved Israel, and then he authentically was seeing what their tactics were, how they were trying to control. He perceived them to be problematic, and it was their behavior. The fact that they are just continuing that behavior, now just trying to pretend that the last part didn't happen, it sickens me. It won't survive unless there is more truth, and we should absolutely demand it. There is a note here from my producer, from Erica Mindel, who is an American Israeli Jewish former IDF soldier, currently serving as that's her name, right? Erica Mindel. She is the public policy manager of hate speech. She's been at TikTok since July of this year, and she's like, yeah, whatever, I'm an IDF soldier, and it's now war, and we own this space. So of course the deal is going to go through if they're already putting IDF soldiers in control of monitoring our speech, which means we only have to get louder, and maybe we'll just choose a different platform in general if this is the direction that they want to go in. Basil Parhouse writes, hey Candace, would you want to debate the more prominent commentators like Ben Shapiro, Brennan Tatum, and PBD on the topics of Israel, Mossad, and Palestine? They all have hinted and danced around calling you anti-Jewish, genetically speaking, and excessive. I would debate PBD. I would debate Ben Shapiro. I wouldn't debate Brennan Tatum because I love Brennan Tatum like a brother. And nobody wins in that scenario. I've just known him, like I know Brendan, I came up with him and Charlie, and I just know him as like a human being, and there's some things that to me are just like are bigger than politics, and so any conversation or debate that I'm going to have with Brandon will be treated in the same way, like the debates that I would have had with Charlie. You know, Charlie and I never threw each other under any buses publicly, and when we did disagree, we had those disagreements privately, and so I would say the same about Brendan Tatum, and I hope that clarifies. A lot of people were asking me about Brendan. He has been there for me He's been there for my family. He's just a political opponent. So that's my honest truth there. Rachel Day says, is it me or is it strange that not a single security guard pulled a gun once shots rang out? I am praying for you, Candace, and I am grateful for this report. We cannot claim ignorance here. Virgil from a homeschool mom who just started the homeschooling thing this week. They're adorable. I think it is strange, actually. I thought about that. They seem to know that not more was coming. Now, you could also, if we're being charitable, say that you're just so overwhelmed and you jump and you just are trying to save Charlie, but you would think that one person would have been guarding, holding a gun, especially if you're trained to do these things and the amount of money that they were making off of Charlie, because Charlie ended up buying Rainbow USA, ended up taking on that security firm. You're kind of not the person that's allowed to freak out in those situations. A lot of mistakes were made and a lot of things cannot be explained. The Menagerie by Adria Lee writes, one of Tyler Robinson's lawyers previously represented Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. Ramirez was in the same jail as Sean Penn in 1987, who was serving 33 days. How do you feel about Tyler's legal team? I've not explored that. I have been so hyper-focused. People, I know you guys have been like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? I want to solve who did this, right? And I want to do it in a way that makes sense to me. I'm a timeline person, data and intel, vetting that information that I'm getting and sharing it with the public in a way that they can digest. There's a lot of different rabbit holes that should be chased. That's definitely one of them. But my main focus right now is trying to figure out who else was involved on that day. Who is the lady that was in that photo? Right. This just in, the FBI just cut ties with the ADL after Turning Point USA criticism. They share a building, just FBI and ADL share a building. They're one and the same. I hope you guys know that. They share a building, I think, in Connecticut. Also, Israel is taking over ExpressVPN and other VPN websites. I always had a conspiracy about that when I was working for Daily Wire, and in back of my mind, I was like, it would make sense that they would train us to actually filter so much data. So they're like, actually, why don't you pretend that this VPN hides things, and so that we know exactly where to look. And once I found Israeli billionaire, I was like, yeah, no, it's going to be a spying thing. That's how I felt, at least. I was like, they're just hide and go straight there. So you're basically taking on the process of filtering for them. That's my conspiracy theory, one of many that I have, as you guys know, because you listen to the show. Lily writes, first, they made a false statement about Candace not being friends with Charlie. They pushed through their minions in the media. Now they planted a fake letter in the same New York Post and their minions. Candace must be up to something. Yeah, I know who had access to Charlie's laptop, and I have questions about that, but I'm going to wait for the financial report to come out, which I'm not handling. And I got question marks about a couple of people over at Turning Point USA. And yeah, I think we should definitely be speaking about these shady pastors. I hope this is the year of the shady pastor. Operation Mocking Pastor. Learning why they can say we don't take money from Israel, but they take money in an organization and they get you to say that it's like a fellowship program, but then they have you like think it was a bad idea to kill Charlie Kirk. That's what I think. I think the devil overplayed his hand, because that's what the devil does. The devil is arrogant. The devil has no friends. I remind people the devil is an orphan. And what I mean by that is if you pledge allegiance to the devil, just so you know, he will turn on you too. Okay? You're only as useful to him as you are an idiot to him. If you're willing to do his bidding, he will play ball to him. You are dealing with a true psychopathic individual who cares about nothing more than their own selfish goals. Anyway, want to, and again, remind you guys that we actually are not funded by any outside groups. We are taking influence from nobody other than the people that write to our tips box. We are being heavily influenced by them. I will say that. Please, we love you all, but only if you have a tip that can help us crack this mystery. I do think that we're going to get into a Russian and Ukrainian angle here for some reason, some way, somehow. We'll see. See you guys tomorrow.
Als je overstapt naar Rijk, bespaar je gemiddeld €300 per jaar op je autoverzekering. Wow, kost je maar 3 minuten. Ik heb wel eens harder moeten werken voor €300. Ja, met Allianz Direct is het makkelijk en snel geregeld. Ga naar allianzdirect.nl.
All right, happy Thursday, everybody. And I'm serious. You should be happy and you should be merry because the tapestry is unraveling, right? I mean, there has been an extremely carefully woven tapestry of deception all of our lives. And I think that Charlie Kirk's assassination, while of course it was a tragedy, has also worked to awaken the world to a deeper evil, something more sinister that sits below. So today we are going to talk about the ADL, the Anti-Defamation. Kash Patel wants to distance the feds from them. I don't think that's possible, and I'm wondering why he chose yesterday to do that. Plus, we received a few tips regarding the woman who is missing from the footage, and while we certainly cannot confirm that it's actually this individual, we do find the fact that she gave public testimony to be pretty interesting. What she says is interesting. Also even more interesting. Our witness tree grows. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, I need you guys locked in because things are becoming increasingly interesting. Okay, yesterday the FBI made a rather curious announcement. They announced that they were going to cut ties with the ADL. Right? You know what the ADL is? It's the Anti-Defamation League, and the reasons Charlie Kirk and his organization, TPUSA, to be extremist. Everybody's an extremist according to the ADL. But this is not a sole announcement. We need to pack this announcement because I don't care what side of the aisle that you are on, you need to understand that the ADL is not something what it purports to be, okay? It purports to be, we're just Jewish Freemason organization known as B'nai B'rith. Now, you're my book club, but Sigmund Freud was a member of B'nai B'rith. We're discussing, we're reading right now the book on truth, and Sigmund is very relevant. I've learned the history of Sigmund Freud in all of our schools, all of our universities, taught as a hero, the history of the psychoanalytic movement. Look, the reality is, him and all his homies were covering up for incestuous. They can't wipe that stain away. Quite literally, the way that they did this was through the mechanism of gaslighting. That's what he is the father of, public gaslighting, okay? That's what modern psychology is. They moved to people who were being abused, right? They were using their credentials, why would this, why would that, to make people that were being committed that they were covering for. So Sigmund Freud was in B'nai B'rith, and the ADL was born out of B'nai B'rith. Why? Well, because they put the organization together to defend a pedophile and a murderer. His name is Leo Frank. Leo Frank was an unbelievably wealthy Jewish factory owner down in Atlanta. This is 1913. It's very relevant. You should know this happened in 1913. And this is the American South. You know what was going on there. And he married Mary Fagan was a 13-year-old girl who worked at his pencil factory. She was found brutally raped. Okay, she's a Catholic girl, by the way. I'm going to say that. She was a young Catholic girl. And Leo Frank, even with all of his money, all of his connections, the best lawyers that money could buy, connections all the way to the Supreme Court, he was so guilty of what happened that despite the fact that he tried to pin it on a poor black janitor, even in the same, hey, give us any reason and we will go lynch a black person, the racist arrogant itself, they still found him guilty. Okay? They still found Leo Frank guilty, and so much has been written to try to obscure this still. They are still trying to defend Leo Frank. What happened then is that his buddies over on a Lodge Drive with assembled the ADL to gaslight the public. No, Leo Frank wasn't. Look what happened after. He was lynched for what he is actually a victim. That's it. He wasn't guilty. I'm sure maybe the black everyone conspired to extend factory owner. Like I said, to this day, they're using those mechanisms to try to gaslight us and to pretend that Leo Frank was really the victim in this tragedy. It's utterly demented. I will never let it stand. He killed Mary Fagan. He is still guilty of that crime, no matter how much the ADL tries to obscure that. And by the way, if you want to learn more, you should learn more about Mary Fagan's murder. I can point you guys, there's a book called The Murder of Little Mary Fagan, and it is written by a relative of hers, and that relative's name is also Mary Fagan. You should read the details of what happened 100 years ago. You should read the facts around it, read the case documents, learn about the brutal rape and the murder, what happened thereafter. Go to the family member as a source. Do that in your own spare time with that list. Anyways, the reason why I'm telling you that is because there is a crucial, it really is a very crucial element of our history that you need to come to terms with, right? The modern media machine, journalists who lie and gaslight your right now, what they're writing about, it's insane. They are students of effectively the psychoanalytic community. Let's gaslight and then we will diagnose. Gaslight and diagnose. Seeing it happen in real time pertaining to the Charlie Kirk case. We watched him murdered, and then we watched the feds lie to us rather fanatically. The text messages of people really know what is going on, and now they're yelling at us for noticing. We are all being abused right now by the press, right? They're trying to spin it. No, I can't control position. Their needs inappropriate. Candace, as they always say, suffering from postpartum psychosis. Okay, whatever you want to watch your friend catch a bullet in the neck, you can call it that. Diabetes too. Anyways, you guys, the time has come for us to wake up. Now, it should unnerve you with that little bit of history. Founding the ADL is so powerful of an organization that they have been directing the FBI for years, okay? They label people who tell the truth extremists. They put them on the list. I think it effectively works as a hit list. And then they direct and work with the FBI in partnership to go after those extremists, okay? That is a very weird relationship, a strange relationship, and a immoral relationship. I want you to know that I have learned the left leaning and the right, the neocons on the right side, work on and on with the ADL and feed them names. Primarily of anyone, I should say, Israel. So currently, you have Trump people who I guess are trying to save face for the lack of curiosity as it pertains to who assassinated Trump to them and worked to whatever they could to support their administration. They're trying to save face and pretend that they're upset, you know, like, oh, we're going to do subtle kids. Look over here, Charlie Kirk on our list. Now that he's dead, we demand POTUS. Cash doing that. It's acting right now. He's delivering some form of justice. I think Elon Musk tweeted about, and sure enough, the FBI director, Patrick Patel, announced yesterday that he ended. This is over. Yes, the ADL was training FBI agents and sharing intelligence in partnership. The FBI and the ADL had a partnership sharing intel. They were training agents. He says no more. Okay, he wrote this in a tweet. James Comey wrote love letters to the ADL and embedded FBI agent, a group that ran disgraceful ops spying on Americans. That era is over. The FBI won't partner with political ones masquerading as watchdogs. Now, if you're on the right, you're supposed to go, yay! Justice served! If you're on the left, you're maybe going to be happy that the ADL responded very graciously to this. They issued a statement immediately. They said, as we prepare to observe the holiest day of the year of the Jewish calendar, we have seen the statement from the FBI Director Patel regarding the FBI's relationship. ADL has deep respect for the Federal Bureau of Investigation and law enforcement officers at all levels across the country who work tirelessly every single day to protect all Americans, regardless of their ancestry, religion, ethnicity, faith, political affiliation, or any other point of difference. In light of an unprecedented surge of anti-Semitism, we remain more committed than ever to our core purpose to protect the Jewish people. You should know that all of that you just heard, okay, is BS. And they are serving us up right now. The illusion that things are changing, the illusion that it's left versus right, or that's Jewish Americans versus everybody else. Hey, Jewish Americans, if you're watching this, you want to wake up. What happens to you? If you need more proof, you should know that they curiously removed the hate list. Candace Owens is on there now. I'm sure you guys go to bed and you're worried about Candace Owens and about the people that are carving freaking swastikas on their head and murdering people. Okay? They don't care. That's all. This is all just left versus right, and whatever it is. But the more important question I get to is why now? Why are they putting on this performative bit right now? Well, yesterday, I made an offhand remark about the ADL and the FBI sharing an office in Connecticut. Now, I know this because I'm from Connecticut, so there's no way to try to obscure. Actually, a Catholic investigator revealed this and shared it. He addressed it in a series of tweets, and Kyle Undercover wrote, I cleared property records for the 19 states that the ADL has a regional office established. The report revealed ADL shares an office space with the FBI, with the United Nations in New York now, same building, across the hall, whatever. That's a fact, and it makes sense. You shouldn't be that shocked when they're owning the fact that they share information. It's easier to share information if you're sharing an office space, right? Anyways, he goes on and he writes, after reviewing the 19 ADL offices, we can see an alarming trend. 63% of the ADL's regional offices are located within various banking institutions. 42% are located within various law firms, ranging from immigration to criminal law. You should keep that in mind when we're talking about later on this show. And 10% are located in Jewish institutions. So you get the point. After I made an offhand remark yesterday, I received a rather stunning tip, which I have been able to corroborate, that FBI bureaus in the United States regarding there are 55 main bureaus and over 350. They decided to go upwards on the East Coast and to send the field office from that borough to UVU. They did that. I'm not going to answer. I'm probably not going to get anything. I wonder what moved them to send borough down to UVU. It just feels like you got a lot around you of options. It wasn't exactly like necessary for you to do that. One gets assassinated, and yeah, that person provided 1,000% certain. I said, see proof, unbelievably. I don't know why they did that. Right? I'd like to. Now, Cash Patel is being again. More oddities that occur after having these federal agents from Connecticut. Now, I have thus far that a lot of these witnesses immediately spoke out to say, here's what happened, here's how many shots, here's what I heard. That they had strange connections to the government or like weren't from UVU at all. I'm trying to understand that. And yesterday, of course, we were trying to figure out who was this mysterious woman that was allegedly helping the shooter change clothes. I got that totally unrelated. Said yes, there was footage of a person helping the shooter change clothes. And then suddenly we received, at the very least, that someone in the Robert Lyman family certainly acknowledges that there was a woman, at the very least, who she suspected could have been an accomplice. She didn't say anything about the person changing clothes. We can watch that clip again to hear what she says. How long it took him to come back from was way longer than
And this sub right here, that we should say it was healthy.
We received a couple of tips. There's a rumor. I mean, you should take this information with a grain of salt. We cannot present it at face value because we don't have the footage, right? I cannot say this is a fact. I can say that this lead became more interesting to me. I should clarify things. It's not simple, the footage. But they don't seem even remotely interested in trying to help us clarify anything. Anyways, the name that we had received turned out somebody that actually provided the only eyewitness testimony of having seen the shooter up close, limping. So it's possible, I'm sure, both of them walking back, and she just was walking near him. Do something can change. That's possible. You should consider that. Included, Olivia Bishop retraces her steps where she came face to face with Charlie Kirk's alleged killer.
Just looking over, seeing that he was limping, kind of being like, okay, and then black shirt, kind of thinking that's kind of weird. It's kind of super hot outside.
Bishop says something seemed a little off.
I did look over at him, and he was kind of like that was his face, just kind of like not a smile or anything.
From the expressionless demeanor during a hot summer day to the limp.
It's kind of odd. I don't know. Like now that I think about it, it's just very like chilling to me.
Chilling. After reading documents online and seeing this video of Robinson walking away from now, she questions whether she could have done more.
Had I seen the impact of a rifle down his taking a little longer. Then immediately after that happened, would I have thought back to him, and been able to alert authorities quicker?
I gotta say, when I saw that, I was actually kind of giddy because I was like, finally, it looks like a college student from UVU is speaking to the news. That's great. And of course, I then had to wonder what she was studying. And it turns out, no, she doesn't go to UVU. I don't know. They just a lot of these people available that day. But what she does for everybody who spoke to the press said what their connections were. It turns out that she works for the Warren Police Department. She's a record specialist. It's kind of unbelievably believe this. Kind of lost a lot of people that were working at the department. Corruption that might be going on there, and I just said, "Wow." She also was reports to be a close witness to when Charlie got shot, and I'm wondering if you were police department, what were you doing going to a Charlie Kirk in the middle of the day? Like, assuming that's a full Wednesday, what were you doing there at all? Actually, it's just like the longest lunch break ever. Meeting up with some friends, she says. Meeting up with some friends, okay. Another thing that we were able to learn is that she met up with her husband. Like, how are all of these people just allowed to leave work to hear Charlie Kirk speak? I'm interested. So I reach out, obviously, today, called the records office. Sent her a text with her number, she doesn't want to speak money, and that she gave the appropriate information to the appropriate authorities. So that there, beyond that, is just going to be a dead end. But I'd like to take a look at our witness history.